working.
Good afternoon. Is this working? Yes. Great. Okay. This is finally back to on a chat.
Yes.
Like conversations. In less than 30 minutes of knowing each other, we've spoken about the love for saris, the love for Bombay, and how Women's Day is working in organizations. So it's interesting, and I think that's as so well introduced. Conversations to me is one of those first open box to mental health and well-being. And great to have just a conversation without any judgments out there.
Absolutely.
And Deepshika, I think as she rightly said, this whole thing of post-pandemic, if one thing organizations have learned is the value of conversations and the value of just sharing who we are. And it's interesting to see the time. Dr. I think we also got trained. We hope we can keep up to the benchmark. It's fun to look at an audience from here and see that there is reality out to physically feel connected. And those are the critical impacts that we're going to talk as we talk mental well-being. And as Deepshika and I were talking, one of the critical areas today in a workplace, normal workplace doesn't really look like what it looked many years back. And one of the biggest areas that has been both intricate and challenging is the linkpin between an organization and that one employee. Somebody said, what are employees today dealing with? The centricity between an employee and the organization really lies with the linkpin of the managers, right? I think managers today are in the most challenging role than ever before. They have to be empathetic and they have to get the best value out. They're dealing with a new generation, a new thinking, and they're dealing with a post-pandemic workplace as well. Deepshika, in all your great experience that you work with so many of them, what do you think are those top challenges that managers today are dealing with, and how are they really being able to navigate mental health as a space in their own organizations?
Absolutely, Madhulika, and just, we were discussing on this also some time back, and we just wanted to kind of address this point out to say that for anybody who is at any leadership position, be it at a junior leader, mid-level leader or senior leader, the human core emotions remain the same. And somewhere we also need to understand that if these are our core human emotions, they are also the human core emotions of the employees who are coming to us with their issues. So sometimes, and when I speak of myself as a counselor, I'm kind of voicing this concern with counselors and mental health experts around to say that most of the employees who come for counseling sometimes feel this, that am I supposed to take this concern to my manager because I do not know whether, now gender neutral, he, she will be able to understand it. And more than understand it also, will be able to accept my concern, accept my issue. So they always feel that there may be a barrier, a boundary, a bias that the manager is having, and then how can I ask for support? Because if the manager is the first person whom I'm going out and I'm not comfortable sharing my ideas and my concerns, then whom do I go to? Managers, on the other hand, Madhulika, you will see that because we've been trained into how to increase productivity, how to increase numbers, how to do that, but maybe we've also been trained how to be empathetic in the sense, please be empathetic, but we really don't know how to be empathetic. So the thing is, you're told to that please go ahead and, be a people's manager, be a people's person, but how? And maybe because of my own nature, I'm not a people's person. And then how do I address people who are coming to me with their concerns? So that, I think, has been one of the biggest challenges that managers have faced. And just like across, we were discussing on, more so in the hybrid model. That if somebody is virtually connected in a team, and I don't get to see the person, I don't get to interact with the person, how then can I offer support? So that's been, I think, as I said, a very, very common view there, that I really do not know how to extend support, though I want to, though I feel the need to it. And the employees in turn feel that I don't think I'm getting supported enough.
And, I think, I remember speaking to one of these employees who joined during pandemic, so joined virtual. And I said, what are those two things you want to share about the organization, if the two adjectives you wish to use? And it was actually the words he used were for her manager. So because for them, more or less the manager was the organization, 90% of the time. That was the interface. And that's why I believe that when we're talking mental health and well-being in the current times, they're really the linchpins of how they're able to drive that.
Yes, absolutely. And especially so because, see, as an example, if I have to tell you, if you see somebody running a physical marathon, you know that at the end of the marathon, they're physically exhausted. There are signs of sweating, person kind of, absolutely panting and needing that glucose dose or, ice packs or something. What about somebody who's been in an emotional marathon? Or what about somebody who's been, into a condition that they themselves are not aware of? And then how are they kind of seeking? So somewhere to understand that we have physical thermometers to kind of take your body temperature, to tell you if you are, in the typical state of well-being. But what about emotional thermometers? What about mental health thermometers? And in fact, Madhulika, I want to ask this to you, extending this, that I am speaking from the other side, as a counselor, things that I've kind of had my own, clients come in and discuss about, and managers come in, and leadership also coming and discussing. But from an organization point of view, Madhulika, if I have to kind of ask you, what do you think are the things that can help in, narrowing this divide? Or just like, Sabrish so wonderfully said that we need to build rituals and we need to. So what do you think, that can be done in terms of, even bridging this gap?
Thank you, Deepsika. And I think there is a significant journey organizations have crossed in the last decade from, being very narrow about it to actually taking that effort and being more deliberate. And Sabrish really liked the ritual word, it'll stay with me. And I was thinking as you were talking of saying, what are those, because rituals means consistency for sure, as you rightly said. Today, when I look at organizations, speaking in the fraternity, obviously a few things that have become a norm to ensure this. Decoding mental health and well-being, right? So it's primarily, fundamentally first understanding of saying, okay, being well in a state in spite of challenges to a certain point, right? And building a culture of it's okay to be not okay and still finding that support in the system. And so there are rituals at infrastructure level, there are rituals and processes, and there's a culture of what we want to build. So that's broadly how I would look at it. And I look at Providence as well, a healthcare organization with very high focus on mental health. Infrastructure today is not just your workspace, but obviously, I think such great insights by Microsoft on the technologies. So how are my infrastructures actually helping mental health and well-being? Do I create spaces which are more open and collaborative, vis-a-vis hierarchical in mind, which kind of forms a mental barrier to saying, can I go and have a conversation? Very simple to start with, but I think organizations just being more conscious of making it more greener, creates a space which says, can I be myself? Authenticity and that bringing in, and I'll just come to that ritual as well. The second in processes, I think something that Sabrish said, whether it is not just initiatives, all organizations do initiatives and it has its own value, but something as deep as in a performance management process or in an engagement thing, somebody's an introvert, somebody's in a shy, just starting to call that out, saying, hey, these are attributes, these are not a blockers to performance, starts building a culture which says it is okay to be this way. It takes off the pressure from a workplace environment of saying, hey, I need to be stereotyped to operate only in a certain way to be successful in an organization. Those are professional mental challenges. I'm sure people come with their context and there's support to help. The third is the whole culture of authenticity itself that's built again. In Providence, we have a very beautiful ritual of reflection, culture of reflection. All our meetings, any of our gatherings begin with a reflection. And that to me is a sign, and mostly leaders, managers who kind of drive it, is about sharing any particular story, experience, quote. It helps them to get vulnerable. And I feel any organizations where leaders are able to be themselves are really setting up the tone at the top, saying, I failed this day, I'm scared of this is my fear. And once that kind of builds into the language that it's okay to share this, it slowly starts seeding in, saying, hey, I can be myself and I can share those thoughts in an organization of this nature. So those are areas which need to be consistent. But when they slowly start building into your culture of how we do, who we are, what are my languages do I check for? Am I conscious before I use a word which can be, assigned to a certain judgment? do I build that thing? So these are very subtle things, but the visible things are your infrastructure, your processes, your policies and values. The subtle is how do my conversations work? What am I assessing you for? Am I assessing you for great value of work or vis-a-vis, the other elements which could be your attributes as people? So those things that leaders are taking efforts on, organizations are shifting to. Is there a journey to go? Absolutely, yes. And as I was looking at that, and again, Providence being a healthcare technology, there's a lot of mental health focus we've done where we've been able to build in tools and assessments, optional for employees, that they can take a sense of, where do I stand? And it's okay to figure out, just like if I'm running temperature or running BP or sugar, is this something I just want to keep a sense of how am I doing and how do I take help? I'm sure with your experience, Deepsika, that with the technology evolving so much, there must be a lot around mental health tools and how employees or anyone can use it. What's been your story?
So I'll tell you what we do at One-to-One Help. So One-to-One Help, when we started with, in the mental health industry, and we went to different employees across different industries, what commonly came up is that employees, for anybody in that matter, the first part that is important to increase is the awareness of your own self. So today, if I'm aware of how I'm feeling, or I'm supposed to feel, or I'm not feeling my fully functioning self, that is where the acceptance bit of it also comes. So with the awareness is, yes, that I'm not feeling the way I'm supposed to feel, I'm feeling a little different, little off. And then the acceptance, what is causing me to feel this way? What is it that is causing me a stress? So the stressors can vary in terms. So even when we say, we talk of these terms like stress and anxiety, it's not that everything that is stressful is severely stressful, or everything that's, anxiety provoking is completely severely anxious. So it's like mild, it could be moderate, it could be severe, right? So, but I need to be aware of that. I need to be aware of, yes, that this is how I'm kind of feeling today. And then once I accept that, yes, certain things I need to do differently so that I can come back with my coping resources into my, feeling more balanced, more in sync with who I am. The action part will then follow, that, okay, what needs to be done? So a lot of tools, even in on the website when we have, because as we were saying, that you need those quick fixes sometimes. You don't need somebody to kind of be there and, do a long one. So we have assessment tools like on One-to-One Help, where somebody can just go and do a, maybe, a mood assessment. What is my mood meter today? And maybe over a period of time, if you realize that for the last 1 week, 10 days, my mood has consistently been very low. So why has it been that? Or you have an assessment of sleep. How many hours are we all sleeping? Not in just clocking sleep hours. How much of restful, the quality of sleep also matters. So you may be sleeping 8 hours and yet you wake up not feeling rested. Right? So what is that assessment tool? So you have those assessment tools which are very rightly, as we said, that you don't need huge things to kind of just a multiple choice question based thing to say that, okay, if I've been sleeping from 2 to 4 hours, 4 to 6, 6 to 8 or more, and how many times a week. And that based on it gives you something to say that, okay, that means, I'm not actually clocking in good sleep, or I'm not eating well, or my mood generally has not been in a good place. So those are assessment tools that help people understand that, yes, there needs to be a change, and then reach out to what is the change that is required. And here is also where the whole part of, getting information at the click of a button comes in, right? You don't need to visit somebody to say that, or because you kind of sometimes put that off saying that, oh, I don't have time to go there. And that's where the whole world where, you can get information there and you can do that for yourself, and then understand that, yes, maybe I need help. So maybe I can take a counseling session, or I can speak to an expert in that regard. So this is what we do with tools. But this just brings me, Madhurika, to this kind of thought that I have, that in spite of these tools that we have, say, that can assess your assessment tools or your e-workshops or something, where do you think, organizations sometimes need to draw that thin line, and again, I'm saying thin line here because, emotional well-being for some people can be something that's very personal, and they wouldn't want to share that with somebody like a parameter, like what's your blood group? So do you think, where do you think is the thin line between an essential well-being for any individual, like all-inclusive, and between something that is, a mandated well-being?
I think it's a sensitive space, and just something to what you said is about tools and assessments available so that I can take it from where I am. Because there's still possibly a stigma associated of reaching out to a specialized support process. And that's in spite of so much of work that gets done in organizations to say, hey, you have these resources available, reach out. People would shy away not from the fact of saying I need help, but from saying, what if others come to know? What how do I deal with it? And obviously, it is for the organization culture to make it, one, confidential, two, show the value, and three, share stories. I think those are very critical from an organization standpoint. To your point, Deepshika, of individual well-being to a potential mental illness, right? I think both of them are signs and symptoms. Just like if I'm feeling cough or there's fever, these days it's more challenging, but in earlier days it used to be just cough and fever, and I would know, okay, these are the three things I need to do if these are my symptoms. Similarly, is there an understanding, or are we enabling people around us to understand what are those signs and symptoms when I feel anxious, when I feel nervous? Or managers or leaders, are they able to sense that, of saying, hey, somebody, I see a pattern of somebody feeling anxious, nervous, not feeling low from their general sense, and be able to provide that guidance. And not all managers are doctors, so I think it's an unfair expectation that managers should be able to solve for it. However, it is those possible nudge conversations and letting people know that there's place. The patterns, exactly to what Deepshika said on parameters and the period of how long you feel anxious, depression, which could be between your well-being to a potential illness, which definitely needs support. I think it's important that one is able to differentiate that individually also, and also as managers and leaders in organization, and help accordingly, of saying this could be just I'm feeling nervous. It's good to it's healthy nervousness before something big in an organization. So is it that 2 days, 3 days, 1 day, one meeting, or is it a sustained period that we are seeing, and then definitely to be able to offer help? It's also today increasingly in organizations, and I don't know if it's today or it was always there. There is a certain pressure that everybody wants to look solid and good and to be successful.
Oh, yes, we have a name for that, Madhulika. We call it, the superhuman syndrome. So we have the superwoman syndrome, where you can't say that, oh, I'm feeling anxious, or, I'm feeling really stressed about my child's online exams, or, something. Or the Superman syndrome, right?
Absolutely.
And I liked how, Dr. Rao said the Spider-Man, example, to say that you're as human as you come, right?
Absolutely. So that whole thing of being guarded all the time, saying, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm sold, takes away that ability to just be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm not feeling good, or I'm not at my best today. And that again is a culture thing as organizations. How do we build in language, conversations, processes which enables people to say, hey, I can't? The whole hybrid work that we were talking about. It is about, obviously, I think all organizations have their own context and reasoning of why they're choosing the operating model that they're choosing. I don't think there's a right or wrong about it. Organizations are at different phases of maturity, so they build in what works for them. But just still enabling that well-being element of saying, hey, what flexibility works for me? And I think those are what organizations can look for. But back to the fundamental point, I think being very aware of how am I feeling? What's my body and mind saying? And if there's a consistent pattern, to be able to reach out for help. Typically, I think Providence has done a lot of research, and the potential mental illness, we've done campaigns on mental health matters where it was about suicide prevention, substance abuse, deeper depression, etc. And the typical pattern is about being able to share at the right time. Right.
Sure. And, Madhulika, just to add to that, and I know how wonderfully Priyanka said that, that's the elephant that she started with in the start, and I was really happy because that's your unconscious, your subconscious mind that comes. And then to say that, okay, if you want that elephant to move, and then, of course, Sabrish wonderfully said that you have external factors that you would need to nudge that elephant. Now, here is where mental health comes. Maybe sometimes you need to be in the mind of the elephant to make sure all the irrational thoughts that are stored there need to be filtered away. right? And you need to also make the elephant understand that there are stereotypes that we are carrying. There are, amazingly, as you said, Madhulika, that there are biases that we are carrying, which are not from today, which are maybe from the time when we were growing up, which are maybe impact of the nurture. So all of us are made of, nature and nurture. Nurture here plays a very important role to say that what your environment has been. So sometimes for us to, refresh new things, relearn, unlearn also, and then along the way maybe learn new things. So that is something that I feel sometimes, that really helps.
Absolutely. And on that note, I'll want to end. There are a lot of effort today is making mental health coming from our campus, because their ability to be open and then you learn from them is fantastic. And to the nurture point, organizations and so is Providence aiming for is to be able to look for the future and how do we build in mental health well-being sensitization at homes, right? Because it starts from there. And if we get it, the workplace just becomes a more easier and acceptable space to be.
Absolutely. I think with that, now we're at the end of the time that we were allotted. So without taking more time, open for any questions, please, with me and Madhulika. Oh, lots of hands going up, all right.
In the interest of time, we will be taking just one question.
Oh, for everybody else who raised hands, you can meet us at the lunch and we'll be happy to take questions then.
Yeah, you can pass on the questions to me if I have the mic. Anyways, my name is Ankita. I'm from Tesco, and another information about me and that I'm a mother of a 2-year-old. So that becomes the base of my question. We come from a generation where our parents, or not significantly talking of parent, but that people who constantly look down upon when someone talked about mental health. And now we are in a current cusp situation where we want to talk about it, but anonymously. So I think great work on one-to-one help where people can do that. But I want to know more in terms of, on your closing note, how do I then encourage my younger one and the coming generation to talk about it like it's, to cry about it and say, like I have a stomachache, I'm not feeling great today. And we, I think it starts at home, and one change of that eventually will build those organizations where people are comfortable talking about that I don't feel great today. So I want to know what as a parenting skill or what as should we talk about in the future generation to bring that change or evolution?
Sure. Thank you, Ankita, so much for that question. Do you want me to take it, Madhulika? Yeah, okay, thank you.
I'll just add in one line, which I'm very passionate about.
Yes, please. So because you asked for a parenting tip, and that's something that I'm very, very it's something very dear to me, because at the end of the day, you may be a parent by, being an aunt or an uncle or somebody, and you may still have those, maternal and paternal instincts. But yes, to answer your question, see, we are indeed a sandwich generation. We are coming from where, our parents refuse to sometimes even look at it and turn the blind eye to it. Very rarely did they actually say that, okay. Now, if you think about it, Ankita, what they would do is, if somebody came, say, suppose Rahul, and I'm just taking a name for a reference here, came running from the sandpit area to say that, oh, somebody hit me, Arjun hit me, and I'm crying. Now, a typical parent of the earlier times, and not because, it was all good parenting, they did the best that they knew, but just they would say that, oh, don't cry, you're a brave boy, don't cry, why are you crying? Or they said, oh, Arjun hit you, it's okay, we'll go tomorrow and we'll talk to Arjun and say, why did he hit you? Now, none of the parents did what they should have said, why are you crying? What is the thing that upset you that made you cry? Is it that you're feeling hurt, as in physically hurt, that you've scraped your knee? Is it that you're feeling hurt that Arjun is your friend and he kind of pushed you and you didn't like it? Or is it the whole concept that you're just feeling that, I didn't want to fall down in front of my friends, and I feel that, somewhere as a child, even I have my self-esteem and that has got crushed. So as parents, thinking and now, more mindful parents, we need to get this awareness on children to say it's okay to be not okay with your emotions. It's okay for you to understand what is the core emotion that is coming out. And one parenting tip I will give you here, Ankita, that if you get your emotions in front of your children without filter, they learn to accept and understand, oh, mama and daddy can also feel upset. You can say, you know what, today I was in a meeting and the electricity went off and my whole system shut down and I was just feeling so stressed. It's okay. The child understands, oh, even mama and daddy in my eyes are, such grown-up people with knowing everything, but they are okay even to say that they were not okay. So we need to start doing that. A good way to do it is before you sleep at night, before you put your little ones to bed. And I would just encourage this from all the aunts and uncles, everybody who's in the room to do this. Talk to your child and ask them, what are the 2 things that made you feel good today? And what are the 2 things that made you not feel so good today? One, it will give you a window of opportunity into their world, because we have only so much time. We only interact with them maybe at the dining table to say, okay, come on, finish your food, do this. So maybe when he tells you at that time that, Arjun hit me and this happened, you are getting a peek into what actually happened. Second, you are also sharing with them 2 things that didn't make me feel good today and 2 things that I'm happy about. So it's a culture at home now again that you're nurturing to say, we are okay of talking about our emotions. So we are not kind of keeping everything inside that gets channelized into a different part other, and you're raising more mindfully aware children ahead. Hope I've been able to answer that. Thanks, Ankita.
I'll just add one line. She covered most of it. Allow children to cry. I think it's one of the biggest things where, the more they hide their emotions, it raises. The second, very quickly, and maybe this could be the organization HR, as we are seeing the new ones. It's okay for them to fail and have feedback early on. It's getting tougher at workplaces to give them feedback because they've seen through schooling, college, or parenthood, which is saying, hey, all is well. It's okay to tell them saying, hey, all is not well. This is how you can do it better. I think just that reality that they don't have to be a 5-star all the time, and that's fine. I think just help them as they grow to 10 years from now. Sorry for the time. Extra
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dipshika and Madhulika, for that engaging chat.